Kia ora koutou. Thank you everyone for joining the ACE RMO 2025 Whanganui webinar. So my name is Sam and I am the ACE RMO consultant, and we're going to start off with an opening karakia by Nate Tapa. So thank you so much.
Kia ora, tēnei rā te mihi atu kia koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Ai o kia ranginui e tūgi o nei, ai o kia papa e takato ake nei, ko te kawa ora, a mauri ora kia tātou. Ka huri te wakaro ki ngā mātua, ki ngā tūpuna kua oe atu ki te pō, moi mai rā oki atu rā aere. Te hunga mate ki te hunga mate ka huri ki tātou, te hunga ora, tēnā rā tātou katoa, ko tai mai nei I runga te reo karanga o tēnei rā, tēnā rā tātou. First of all, just pay our respects to those of our loved ones who have passed on. All of our loved ones who have gone to the veil, may they be at peace. Secondly, to us the living, to us who are here today, to carry on with this kaupapa that is in front of us, may we all be truthful, strong, and our words be correct. Nō reira, tēnei rā te mihi atu kia koutou Samantha, tēnā tātou katoa, huri noa, ka huri te rākau, kia rātou mā, ko wai. So just to say, Samantha, kia ora.
Thank you so much. So we'll move on to the panelist introduction shortly. During the webinar, we'll have a presentation to share with you all that will be presented by our wonderful panelists. And then we'll move on to our RMO representatives that will tell you a bit more about their experience at the hospital. Towards the end of the webinar, we will have a live Q&A session, and then finally we'll close off with a closing karakia. So just a reminder, all questions can be dropped in the Q&A box. It should be above, and you can drop the questions in there throughout the webinar, but just to note that they will be answered towards the end of the session. Okay then, thank you so much, and over to you panelists.
Tēnā koutou, my name is Aragon. I'm one of the PGY1 house officers here in Whanganui. I've just started on ortho, that's my first run, and I've loved living here and I'm excited to tell you all about it.
Kia ora koutou, ko Natalie de Vries tōku ingoa. I am the Chief Medical Officer, or kaiuringi, of this hospital, and I'm a paediatrician by profession.
Hello everyone, my name's Kent. I'm the recruitment consultant for the RMOs.
Kia ora, I'm Alex, one of the PGY1s, currently on general medicine. I'm from Whanganui and really enjoying being back here so far.
Kia ora, my name's Riley. I'm one of the PGY1 doctors here as well. I'm on medicine with Alex. I'm also from Whanganui and enjoying being back home and working at this amazing hospital.
Thank you. And welcome. Again, we value your time that you're sharing with us today. So I'm going to move on to the presentation. I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, kia ora, I'll talk to this slide because I think what's really important for you to know is that our hospital has got really strong values, and we live by the waka model. And I just wanted to show you, because when you come and work here, you'll be part of this waka, on the waka to provide good and safe care for our patients. So with the waka is that you'll be having a hoi, and we all need to work together to get the best outcomes of the patients. And we work with, you know, as doctors, with allied health, with administration, with cleaners, with all kind of staff. We're all in the same waka together. In my role of kaiuringi or navigator, we will be steering, but we need to get the input from the whole team in order to know what is the right direction for the waka. The other great thing is about this is that when you come and work here, you'll have a 2-day cultural introduction kind of course, and if the weather permits, you will actually be on the waka on our Whanganui River. So really something very special, but very important to us. Another thing I really am passionate about is that we also have very strong values, and we really want to live by our values. And we also want to be held accountable to that. So if we're not, you know, making decisions according to our values or behaving according to the values, we need to hear that, and people need to tell us. Aroha is one of our values, and we all know that. It's love and respect and empathy. Ko taritanga, unity and vision sharing, trust and collaboration. Manakitanga, I find as a really strong value of the hospital. Respect to colleagues and support them, but also respect for our patients and manaki them as well. And Tino Rangatiratanga is really about the value of self-determination, where we empower people. So that can be empowering your colleagues, it can be empowering the students that are here, or that can be empowering the patients to make the right decisions. So I really wanted to set you up that when you come here to Whanganui, this is the message that you will hear. And I think it's a really strong message and will really help you to deliver the best outcomes for our population.
So I thought I'd just talk about Whanganui as a town itself and a bit about the hospital. So Whanganui is on the west coast of the North Island. It's about 2 hours from New Plymouth, an hour from Palmerston North, and about 2.5 hours from Wellington. The population is about 48,000, so it's kind of on the borderline of a large town, small city, and we've got a large population of Māori and Pacific. The hospital has 172 beds. It's nice and small, and the wards are all located really close to each other, so there's no big walking across 10 minutes from one department to the other, which I've found really nice this year. This year we've got 12 PGY1s. The number allocated kind of varies from year to year. A nice thing is that mostly there's consultants and house officers. Some departments do have registrars. At the moment, we have a locum general medical registrar and hoping to get some more permanent in the coming months. In year one, you generally do two surgical specialties. So 1 quarter general surgery, 1 quarter orthopedics, and then you also do 2 quarters in general medicine as a general rule. One house officer will be on the stroke and rehab ward, and they still do their long days and weekends in general medicine. In year 2, you have the opportunity to do some runs, which in quite a lot of the larger hospitals are only able to be done by senior house officers. So that's really nice that we have the opportunity to do those as a junior house officer. These include ONG, pediatrics, ED. You may also get the chance to do ED in your first year as well. A community run, which may either be at the accident and medical centre at the hospital or at a local GP practice. And you also then get the chance to spend some time with hospice as well, which is really nice. There's also the opportunity to do psychiatry, anaesthetics, and a relief run.
So Aragon and I are going to speak a little bit about what it's like to work here, both in Whanganui as a town/city and in the hospital itself. So I'll start with speaking about what it's like to work on the wards. One thing that's really nice about being a house officer here in Whanganui is you work very closely with consultants. As Alex mentioned, we have mostly house officers and consultants with registrars on some services, but the benefit to this is that you get a lot of one-on-one time with a consultant, which means a lot of learning and tapping into their brains. And then alongside that, a lot of opportunities for learning. So we have tutorials twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, with the occasional tutorial on a Wednesday. There's run-specific teaching, so specific to medicine. Every morning at our handover, there's teaching opportunities that we can bring up as house officers, or the consultants will bring up cases as well, and lots of radiology teaching. We have a radiology meeting every week where we can also bring up cases and discuss interesting scans. And there's also a lot of learning on the job. One of my favourite things about Whanganui Hospital is we have a huge emphasis on cultural involvement and training. We have an amazing team here called the Hamoana team, which is basically our Māori liaison team. We have a liaison for every one, navigator for every ward, who not only provide a lot of support to our patients, but to us as doctors as well. I'm forever being looked out for by our Home Moana team, and making sure I've had lunch, or I've had a break, or I'm just, taking some time for myself and in amongst busy days. There's a great culture between junior and senior doctors. It kind of goes with the fact that we work closely with consultants, but we always talk about that hierarchy in medicine, but we feel that a lot less here because we work so closely with them. You work closely with the MDT and allied health. So we have lots of different services here. We've got the physios, occupational therapists, nurses, HCAs, ward clerks, everyone that's part of our wider team to make the hospital run, we have really close relationships with, which makes for a far more enjoyable experience.
Yeah, I mean, just going on from what Riley said, I completely agree, particularly on the point of feeling like you're in the waka with all the MDT team and even the administrative team as well, who look out for each other quite a lot. And that's really nice. You're not segregated as doctors. And I think that's a big advantage of being in a kind of small hospital, but it also reflects on the culture of the hospital as well and the people who are in it. I have a slightly different perspective to offer in the sense that I come from Wellington, which is a much bigger place, and I wanted to come to a regional hospital, and I'm really glad I did. Whanganui is a great town to live in. It's a lovely size. If you want to drive from one side of town to the other, it'll take you less than 15 minutes. There is certainly no traffic to get here. I live 2 minutes away, which is not uncommon. I know people who would like to live across the fence, but they still drive. Because on that point, there is free parking. And it's generally safe as well. People on long day generally park near the front entrance where it's well lit as well, which is different to some other hospitals around the country. In terms of the kind of environment that Whanganui offers, there is a small but quality selection of kind of cafes, restaurants, bars. I think the doctors in the hospital and the kind of wider team are reasonably social, and the more senior house officers in the hospital in particular have really welcomed us here, getting involved with kind of social activities, and offering us lots of support as well. I know it's only April, but it's still quite warm in this part of the country, like it is in lots part of the country at this time of year. But I'm told that the weather doesn't get too cold here, which is another great thing about Whanganui. And then the kind of outdoor environment that's offered here is really, really well sought after. Our river, Awa, is kind of the central feature of Whanganui, and it's people do a lot of water sports on it, like rowing and wakaama. We're near the beaches. The river has lots of trails along it, so it's good for kind of cycling and running and walking, and you can go quite far up the river.
I was also just going to tap into the part about being a very friendly place to work as well, and just mention that I think it's really nice here. Within 3 months of working here, all the nurses know all of us. We know all the nurses, all the other doctors. Everyone knows each other by name, and it's really nice to just kind of have that kind of relationship with all the other staff members.
It's also really nice because you'll be walking down the ward corridors, and everybody will say hello to you, which is a very different experience to what I've had in a larger hospital. It makes you feel really valued, and that you're really seen as a part of a team.
I guess the other great thing about Whanganui is that it's actually in quite a central location. Wellington is a 2-hour drive away, and there are other parts of the central North Island which are easily accessible by car, including like hikes and trails and that kind of thing.
And then just on a couple more things about the hospital, like Alex mentioned, you've got the opportunity to do a few rotations earlier than what you would at other hospitals. Like she said, PEDS, ONG are typically reserved for senior house officers, but here we get to do them in PGY too, which is really cool. And a lot of people tend to consider, I know Aragorn is one of them, wanting to go to a smaller hospital in a more regional centre, but not really too sure where to go. Whanganui is a really great option for that. 1, because you're close to a lot of places. 2, because it's a really awesome place. And 3, because the hospital is incredible with amazing people.
I completely agree. I have absolutely no regrets about coming to Whanganui.
These are just a few of the photos that I managed to collect from my camera roll. I've grown up here, and so I'm absolutely in love with the place and in love with the awa and everything this place has to offer, but just wanted to show some of its beauty. There's a couple of pictures of the hospital there and the awa and the beaches. There's also a picture in the top left of one of the local lakes here. It's a beautiful place to spend outside, but equally as amazing to spend in the hospital. In the bottom right is a picture of me as a trainee intern here with a couple of the other trainee interns on our waka trip, which is what we get to do as a part of our orientation, like Natalie mentioned. But just to round it off, I think Whanganui Hospital provides a lot of awesome opportunities that are very different to what other hospitals have on offer.
Thank you. That was amazing and a well put together presentation. It seems like a really inviting, warm, cultural place to work at. So that was great. Thank you for that. One of the general questions that have been asked are, what are roughly the hours per week?
So our schedule is kind of done on a 3-week rotation. So 1 week we will do 2 long days, typically split up throughout the week. So my ones would usually be Tuesday and a Friday, which is 7:30 to 10:30, or 7:30 in the morning, 10:30 at night. And then the other days on that week will be 8 to 4. And then the following 2 weeks are generally my 10-day stretch. So my one goes from, I go on my RDOs after that week, have 4 days off, and then I come on, and whereas Alex starts on a Monday and goes through the following Wednesday. We will work the weekend of that 10 days, which is again 7:30 to 10:30, but then the days either side of that weekend are 8 to 4. So we are, is it category D? Category D, which is an average of 50 to 55 hours a week. And then every 3 weeks that pattern starts again.
Just to add on to that, for the surgical specialties, they start at 7:30 in the morning, which is not uncommon in other parts of the country as well. And I guess the other important point to note is that most days, most house officers leave on time at 4 o'clock, which I think is a plus.
I think over the last 3 months, I might have left late twice. Otherwise, I'm leaving at 4 every day. Yeah. Which is great because then you're not stuck in traffic. You get home on time.
Not that there's any traffic.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's no traffic. It's fine here.
So it provides that, as you mentioned, that work-life balance, which is great. Next question, is accommodation easy to find? And do you have an average of accommodation costs that you could maybe share?
Me and Alex both live with family or partners, so we can't do too much life on that.
I can answer the question because I'm not from here, so I am flatting. I don't mind saying I'm paying $220 a week. I think that's probably on the high end, to be honest. I think probably around 200 is kind of average. In terms of finding a place, I don't think it's that hard. I didn't have any issues with finding a place before I arrived here.
I think also to add on to that, having been here as a trainee intern as well and having had friends that have found a flat, we have people come here in friend groups, and so it can be a little bit easier to find a place if you're going to be getting a 3 or 4 bedroom and know that there's going to be people filling those rooms. So the trainee interns have a flat that they rotate through every year, which is a new build, and I think they pay about $150 a week in central Whanganui. So it can really vary on price and depending on whether or not you're trying to find a single room or if you've got friends that you're coming with. When we were starting, we were put in a group chat and everyone was messaging about who needed a place and who needed people to live with. So there's definitely connections that can be made, and people like Alex and I who are local and know people that we can put people in touch with to find a place.
I was going to say, here everyone knows someone with who's looking for a flatmate or to rent out their place. I think that's always easy to get in touch with someone who's looking for someone.
Did have a question that came through in the Dropbox. Is Whanganui Hospital going digital?
Looking at me.
Well, that's the higher ups.
It depends. Those decisions are not to be made by us, unfortunately. That is all a national decision. But yes, we aim for that. And some parts, like in outpatient, we go more and more digitally. But there's still a lot of manual work to be done. Ideally, we would like everything to be digitalized. We have no influence except that we can advocate for Whanganui to be, the next on the rank. But unfortunately, we can't make those decisions ourselves.
Yeah, we do have paper ward round notes, but aside from the ward rounds, most of the other things is electronic. And if you're not familiar, the Wellington region is kind of connected electronically, so you can access records from Wellington Hospital and other parts of the lower North Island.
I mean, it'd be nice to be digital, but I also don't really have many issues with still writing ward round notes. It's I think it's ward round notes and drug charts that are you've got to handwrite, but it doesn't really take away from anything or really add much to your workload to have to handwrite things.
Yeah, and I was going to say, that coming from a hospital where we use MedChart and online prescribing systems, I was quite worried about coming to somewhere where it was paper-based, but I've actually found it quite good in a way. I feel like writing things out has really helped me to learn a lot in terms of medication prescribing. If you need to give specific instructions, you can do that a lot easier by handwriting than having specific drop-down options that you can choose from.
I do feel like I have a better understanding of my patients' plans because I've handwritten it too.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of paper notes.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Is there any research opportunities?
I mean, we've just started, so we've probably been spending the last 3 months just finding our feet. I think the great thing about Whanganui is it is what you make it. If there's something that you want to do, the opportunity is certainly there. From people that I've worked with as a training intern here, I know that there definitely is research opportunities. Whether you're at a PGY 1, 2 or higher level, there's opportunities for research, there's opportunities to be involved in things like audits, the learning is certainly there. The one thing I really like about Whanganui too is they really encourage educational opportunities and like you seeking those opportunities as well, whether that's doing another course or doing research. Everyone's always very open if you come with an idea to helping you, like how you can find a way to actually do that.
Yeah, I see all the research requests come through. Yeah, I have to sign them off. And we do participate in quite a lot of national research as well. But we have quite a few SMOs that are strong on research. And it's always good to, if you have an interest, to link in with them and share your ideas. And I would definitely support research and education in this hospital in principle, because that is just very important for a small hospital like us, not just doing the mahi, but also making sure that we invest in our staff to do better, to be part of research and to do better by, obtaining education.
Next question we received. What are the rates of non-training surgical registrars getting into the program from Whanganui onto the program?
Comment on
that. I wouldn't know that off the top of my head.
I know we're a very popular place for training in surgery, so I guess it will be quite competitive, but I don't know the rates.
Yeah, from what I know, because we have one training surgical registrar here on general surgery, and I believe is one on orthopedics, and the rest are non-training. But it is quite competitive to get one of those positions. So this year we have one general surgical trainee registrar and then 4 non-trainees, and
that is the standard.
They were snapped up pretty quick, and word spreads pretty quick about it being a very good place to come and do those non-training years, because you get so much opportunity for theatre, clinic, research, or all of those kind of things, and then people tend to, when the time comes to progress their training to become a trainee registrar, will go to another hospital to get onto the program, because there's only one position available here.
May I answer that early? Is that, and what you said is the experience that you get here is so broad that people have trained here as a non-training registrar and then go into training somewhere else. they have had so much more experience than some other people that start training, because in Whanganui, we do everything. We get everything. There is no filtering in subspecialties, and you just have to do it. And so if you get your basic years here, you'll be in a better position when you start training wherever you do it.
I will also make a comment too about what Natalie brought up there, is that we don't have the subspecialties here in medicine or surgery. And I think a lot of people look at this hospital and think, oh, they don't have the subspecialties, like, you know, we don't want to be there. But because of that, the range of things we get in Whanganui is so various and very general, that like things aren't getting sent off left, right, and centre to different specialties where you're not getting the opportunity to learn about it. And also within the specialties like medicine and surgery, we have surgeons and physicians that have special interests in, say, cardiology or respiratory or bariatric surgery or biliary surgery. So there's definitely people you can find within those specialties that do have those special interests, so you can still navigate your learning based on that as well.
What are the top key things that you look for in an applicant during your ranking process?
Just some sort of connection to Whanganui is always great. So if someone's coming home, so as you can see, 2 of our doctors have come home, but definitely, you know, willing to learn. You know, we want to have doctors here that want to put in the work and get as much out of Whanganui as they possibly can. Would
cover letters be quite a key area that you would look at during your selection criteria?
Cover letters are always good, and a good concise CV is always great.
What are the food options that are available at the hospital? That's very important. We all know
Yes.
food is important.
It's I would argue it's the most important. I find the food options quite good, to be honest. I think for a small hospital, they're very good. I think I've been in Wellington before and their cafe is ridiculous, but you know, in a smaller place, we're never going to have one like that. But there's hot meals every day, and the options there's a meat option, a vegetarian option, a burger and soup every day. And then we have drinks. My favorite thing is that we get Coke Zero here. And there's juices and water, and then there's cabinet food as well. So things from sandwiches and toasted sandwiches, slices, bagels, tuna, salads, yogurts, coffee.
I think I might get a job there.
Yeah. Chips, popcorn, chocolates. Yeah.
I think we rate quite highly compared to other hospitals around the country.
Yeah. I definitely rate the options. Like I don't think I've ever walked in there and gone, oh, I've got to have this today. Like there's always, there's something different that I can have.
There's a lot of variety as well, and it's for the main meals it's like a 3-week rotation, which is quite nice, and always like a different burger option each day.
And the chefs do really well, and they try to explore different cuisines. So today we had Mexican, and
the staff are really nice at the cafe as well.
And if you subtly drop a hint, like, oh, are you getting any protein bars soon? A week later, protein bars will turn up.
And like even along with the theme, like St. Paddy's Day, there was a themed lunch and things.
So they had like an Irish themed lunch on St. Paddy's Day. I think
the staff are really nice.
The staff are very, very kind.
And that's a personal contact that you develop with everyone here.
So we have a cafe at the front of the hospital too, where we tend to get our daily coffees. We pay for those, but it's a good coffee, and the coffee lady is so lovely. And she learns our coffee orders, which is really great.
Only would happen in a small hospital. The other thing as well is it's not really specifically about the food, but in the dining hall as well, there's like a long table which most of us sit at lunch, which is really nice to just be able to have a chat with other doctors, whether they're your year, second year and above.
Sometimes the SMOs come and sit and lunch with us. So it goes back to that point of we don't really experience that hierarchy here. Like everyone's kind of on the same playing level. Everyone's keen to get to know you and learn about you and make you a part of the team.
That's a great point. We make a lot of connections at that big long table.
You do too.
Absolutely. Well, often you sit down next to people, and you've no idea who they are. You meet them over lunch, and there's no kind of fear like, oh, I won't sit at the table today because I don't know who that is. That's not the case.
The lunch table is also a really great place to like you'll start talking about something. And I think I was talking to one of the ortho registrars once, and she was like, oh, my husband is doing this and needs a hand with this, or we're looking for something. And I was like, oh, my partner does that, he can help. So, you know, there's like lots of ways that you can learn to help people, you know, help people out. But yeah, everyone's always willing to give a helping hand.
Lovely, thank you. So good connecting and networking.
Yeah.
We do have another question that's come through in the Dropbox. Was your last leave request approved?
I haven't had a leave request declined. I've put through a few leave requests, and they've all been approved. And some of them have been not too far in advance. I recently had leave for a personal thing and was approved straight away without question. And that tends to be the experience of everyone that I've spoken to here.
RMO are very approachable here.
Yeah.
They make every effort to grant your request.
Yeah.
I've never been declined.
No. Which is really nice, because like it means that you can plan things and not be left wondering whether or not it's going to be approved.
Not have to put it in like 10 months in advance, like you do it.
Yeah. Like I think a month in advance tends to be enough. Sometimes even a couple of weeks is enough as well.
If there are any further questions that might come up after the webinar that you thought should have asked that, you're more than welcome to contact the RMO unit directly. I don't know, Kent, who would be the best person for them to connect with?
That would be me, yes.
Yeah.
So I can share my email address if you like.
Yeah, and all the employer information for Whanganui is available on our ACE RMO website, so you can pop over there and have a look. There's some good information about it too on our website. And if you have any questions with regards to the actual ACE process at all, you're more than welcome to contact me at any time. All our contact details are also available on the ACE RMO website. So if we have any last comments that we would like to share, panelists, before we close off?
One last thing I'd like to say is that we did mention before this that it must be a pretty good place to work, because 1 quarter in, we're all still very happy. So I will say that that's I think that kind of sums up our experience here in the last few months.
So Ned, I'm going to kindly hand back to you to close us off with a karakia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just want to say thank you to our panel for such beautiful words about our beautiful hospital. But it is true what they've said. I can vouch for that too. Nō reira, e tēnei rā te mihi atu. Marua ka ura tangaro unu ia I mua waka I roto waka I tāne. E rongo he wakaire aki ki runga ai. A turu iti waka maua kia tina, aumia ui e. May we all travel home safely. Tēnā tātou. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your time. Hope you have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.